we're going to integrate the integral of 1 over the quantity x squared times the square root of 16 minus 9x squared. First step is we always want the number 1 as the number. So we're going to write 16 minus 9x squared. We're going to factor the 16 out, and we have 1 minus 9x squared over 16. And this will be 16. Now we can see with the 1 minus that it's 1 minus sine squared theta, which will be 16 cosine squared theta. Now we're going to create the key for this. The first step for the key is to put the trig expression for the square, x squared part. So we have 9x squared over 16. That gets substituted with sine squared. Next step, before we go further, is to take the square root, and that gives us 3x over 4 is sine of theta. Once we have this, then we can set up the triangle with the angle theta, and this is a way of checking that we do get the square root of 16 minus 9x squared. Looking at this, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so the opposite is 3x, the hypotenuse is 4, and surely using the Pythagorean theorem, we know that this side, we know 9x squared plus something is 16, so this would be 16 minus 9x squared, but it's the square root. Now we solve for x, and we get x is 4/3 sine theta. Then dx becomes 4/3, the derivative of sine is cosine theta, d theta. So these will get used in our substitution. Now we're going to write that the integral of, it's really 1 over x squared radical 16 minus 9x squared dx. And now we're going to do our substitution. Working this substitution, we have the dx is just 4/3 cosine theta d theta. Then our x squared, we just take our x, which is 4/3 sine theta, and that gets squared. And then the square root of our, looking up here, our 16 minus 9x squared, we put in here our 16 cosine squared theta. We just have to work out this trig integral. It is the integral of, we got the 4/3 cosine theta d theta. Down here we have 16/9 sine squared theta. And then square root of 16 is 4, and square root of cosine squared is cosine. Working this out, I have the 4/3 on top. The reciprocal of 16/9 is 9/16. The reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. Put that all in front, and it's cosine theta, sine squared theta, cosine theta, d theta. We're going to work this out. The cosine cancels. The 4 here cancels. The 3 goes into that 3. Working this out, we get 3/16, the integral of 1 over sine squared theta. But that 1 over sine squared, the reciprocal of sine squared is cosecant squared. And the antiderivative of cosecant squared is a negative cotangent. So it's negative 3/16 cotangent theta plus a constant. Now we've got our answer, but it still is in theta, so that's where we go back to the key, and it's this triangle that we're going to use, the definition of sine, and we're going to use that to get our answer. So we're going to go back here, everyone, and we're going to put that triangle. From our key, 3x over 4, was sine of theta, and then from our triangle, here was theta. It was opposite over hypotenuse, and this was 16 minus 9x squared. It's square root. So we are now ready to put our answer. So it's negative 3/16. Then we have to do the cotangent. And cotangent is adjacent over opposite. So cotangent, the adjacent is radical 16 minus 9x squared over the opposite, which is 3x. Simplifying that, we do get the 3's cancel, and so we can write the final answer as negative the radical 16 minus 9x squared over 16x plus a constant. And that's our result.